Trump's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the Electoral College vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the Electoral College vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted gears. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that.
Do you think
no,
that
don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
But do you think those groups, the black voters, the Latino voters, and the others that you mentioned, are they going to regret it soon?
Possibly. I think so. I don't like what I'm seeing from Trump. I didn't like what I saw with Zelensky. I didn't like what I saw with a few things. But in the end,
Zelensky?
I didn't like it.
But in the Oval Office.
But in the end, what it comes down to is this. The American people, in their eyes, it wasn't about him. They were voting against what the Democrats were throwing in their direction. I don't only talk to Cuomo. I did interview Eric Adams. I did interview Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. I interviewed these people. I've talked to them, and I'm going to talk to some more of them, too. And I'm going to say the same message. What are you doing to win? I love Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. I love John Kerry of Pennsylvania, okay? I just interviewed Cuomo. I like him a lot. I want somebody to step up and recognize that man in the Oval Office, whether you like it or not, is potent. He's coming and he wins. You got to find a way to beat him. This way is not the way that the Democrats have been doing it.
Let's talk about how people are feeling about his performance, because a CNN poll this week found that 52% of people disapprove of Trump's performance in office so far. So even though he may have won the general election by less than 50%, 52% disapprove of what he's doing. We're also seeing Republican voters at town halls opposing his executive overreach, giving Elon Musk the shadow presidency. Yet you said, quote, Trump is closer to normal than what we're seeing on the left.
Yeah, I was talking about why he won the election.
So?
When I made that statement, I was talking about, that was before the election.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So when during the election, I said, in the immediate aftermath of the election, I pointed out he was voted for because they considered him closer to normal than what the Democrats were spewing. That was what I said at that particular moment in time. Now, obviously, Elon Musk is an entirely different matter altogether. This man is not an elected official. He hasn't been confirmed by the Senate or anything, but he's got an inordinate amount of power.
Given to him by Trump.
I can understand how that could scare the living daylights out of folks, and the approval ratings, obviously we pay attention to that. But here's the bigger question. Who on the Democratic side are the American people pointing to and saying that's the person?
Well,
they don't have anybody yet.
Well, we're
plenty.
6 weeks in with you-know-who.
National Voice.
Right.
We're 6 weeks in with you-know-who.
Jeffries.
Everybody said let him do what he's doing so we can see what's going on. So, and now people are saying, well, what are you going to do as a Democrat? Well, wait a minute now. Y'all didn't want to hear what we had to say as Democrats because that wasn't what people voted for.
True.
So now we have a clear definition, and the American people will decide how they like what he's doing, because now it's affecting in a way that people were not anticipating. People who didn't think they would be affected, like the folks who work in the federal government, they never saw this coming.
And
They
people can't
never
make
saw this
omelets
coming.
anymore.
Sorry about
That's
it.
right.
People can make omelets. Everybody doesn't eat eggs. Not a fan. But I like chickens. But I'm not a fan of eggs for the mouth. Anyway, our thanks to Stephen A. Smith. Be sure to check out his interview with the former governor of New York City on the Stephen A. Smith Show, wherever you get your podcasts.